Pay me, pay me, pay me my silver now. Pay me or go to jail. Pay me my silver now.
Bix Weir, roadtoroot.com with your morning horn disease, your sip of chaga coffee. Got my America hat on. Got that from Paige and Josh for my birthday. Been out of the loop for a little while. Nothing has changed. It's amazing how you can go away and everything is so big and important. You come back, it's the same shit. The reality of market manipulation, I hope everybody now understands it's 100% true. And it's a manipulation as in price suppression more than anything else. Yes, it's allowed to go up on occasion. For example, in 2011, Jamie Dimon, after inheriting the Bear Stearns short position in silver, allowed silver to go up to $50 through the placement of a guy named Bill Daley with Obama as his chief of staff. What it did, by allowing it to go up to $50, it got a lot of weak hands in. And then, of course, they crush it. So it went from 20 to 50 and then back to 20 1 year later, and then Bill Daley left Obama as chief of staff. That's how the game is run. The Bill Daley of the Biden administration is the head of the U.S. Mint, Ventress Gibson. Although she's not smart enough to pull it off, a few things happened when Ventress Gibson came in and the Biden administration. They said to stop. They told them to stop Silver Eagle production. Of course, everybody was like, you can't stop it. It's in the law. And then they asked, how much could we do to get away with it? What's the minimum amount we could do to get away with it? And that's what they're producing. And this was confirmed by Jack Sermon, the head of Silver Eagle sales, when I called customer service at the U.S. Mint, believe it or not. It's very interesting to understand what these individuals do in order to rig markets. This is official. I mean, by doing this, maybe she takes her marching orders from Janet Yellen, maybe not. I'm sure she does. So Janet Yellen, the head of the Treasury, went to the U.S. Mint as soon as she got in and said, we can't allow silver to be freely traded. We can't allow more physical silver to leave the vaults. So they cut it off. They cut off physical silver. Not only did they do that, they started playing the price suppression game with their hedges. And it resulted in a $112 million loss by the U.S. Mint hedge book at that same time. So there's so much criminal deceit going on. But what do? You can bitch and moan all you want. We have a fake government in right now. The sad thing I was thinking about on the 4th of July was this might be the very last 4th of July for the United States of America in the condition it is today. I do not think there'll be another election. I can't see how that could ever happen. We live in a world that is completely controlled and manipulated. It always had been, but it was more on the sly in the past. Now it's in your face. And they're telling you what you believe, what you can say. They're censoring speech. It's so ridiculous. And yeah, blood of patriots might be needed on this one because we're hitting a point. The banking system is clearly failing. Take a look at the 5-year Treasury notes. On a quarterly basis, the 5-year Treasury note just breached 4.12, which is the highest yield, meaning the value of the actual note is worth less and less. And on a quarterly basis, which was when they report to the FDIC, in over 10 years. The last time this happened, even close to it, was back in December, and we know what happened after December. Everybody's like, oh my God, there's $800 billion in losses sitting on these banks' books. So what happened at the end of the second quarter? It's going to be even more, and they're going to have to announce that in August. Again, I am predicting, as I have for a while, that September is going to be the real chaos. You're going to really wish you had your silver and your cryptos in your own possession. Now's the time to buy it when no one else is, and availability is pretty good from what I hear. You can call up Andy Scheckman and Miles Franklin. You can go to your local coin shop. I highly recommend your local guy because there isn't going to be any online ordering for a while when the shit falls apart. We'll see. We'll see what happens. All right, here's some of the things I was looking at. Deb Butler's latest, he linked 3 articles massively pro silver, and we've all talked about this. And the question is, when is someone with half a brain and a few $1 billion going to take it all? Just take all the silver that's left and go, poof, it's gone. I think it's happening on a slow basis, a slow burn. I do know that my estimate, the 3 big takers of all this physical silver that's leaving London. Remember, all the contracts get traded on the COMEX, and then they do this thing called exchange for physical and deliver in London. Last month it was 100 million ounces, over 100 million ounces, which would have been the largest COMEX delivery ever, but they push it over to the LBMA because, well, there's many reasons. The main thing is the laws are different, and you don't have to report on it. So the CFTC, who's supposed to be, and the CME, who are supposed to be regulating this thing, they can say, it's not us. Look, we have barely any deliveries. Everybody's getting out of the COMEX. It's a game. It's a cruel game, but it's a game, and it's been going on for many, many years. And 99.9% of the time, it's for price suppression. On occasion, they'll allow the price to run briefly. They did in 1980, and they did again in 2011. We are coming up to another point in that. And then it comes down to, will they try to stop it again? What's their next plan? Will Ventures Gibson continue to make no silver eagles for we the people? Will naked shorting be allowed? Will they use their hedge book against the traders and the people to suppress the price like they did in 2011? We will find out, I guess, right? We're in this game, and I'm in it for the long haul. So I know they can click a mouse and put the price at minus $40. We saw it with oil. No matter what the excuse, they can do it with silver as well, because the exchanges are fake. Everything you see about them, every price you see is fake. We don't know the true fair market value of silver, but I think we will. Anyway, the 3 articles, there's one from the Silver Institute. Could a composite of minerals, including silver, replace lithium in batteries? That's the way the future's going. People were starting to worry because, like in solar power, they were using less and less silver, and now there's new ways to be more efficient with solar power, and it's using even more silver. And it goes into where's the one? This is it. World's appetite for solar panels is squeezing silver supply. This is in mainstream news, BNN, Bloomberg. And this Silver News Monthly is the Silver Institute, which is probably the largest entity to keep track of it. I got my own issues with them. It's kind of ridiculous. They just, it's kind of like the government. After they lie, they have to continue the lie, keep lying on top of the lies, and pretty soon you don't know what the real data is. I think we're at that point in silver. So yeah, silver, as I've talked about many times, but it rarely gets talked about in the mainstream. And this is Bloomberg saying, we have a problem. Solar plant panels, and they're saying that, by 2050, solar will be using 100% of the silver pulled out of the ground. Good luck with that. You think the price is going to stay at, $22, $23? No, it's not. It will become unobtainium at some point. I mean, you won't be able to get it. Doesn't matter what the price is. You won't be able to get any. And then this article, Commodity Trade Mantra, silver, a highly undervalued golden opportunity. That talks about basically all the things that we talk about, the massive rise in industrial demand, the massive rise in investment demand as well. It's like 2 massive rises, and the complete flatness of silver production coming out of the ground. It'll take 10 years to get it takes 10 years from start to finish to get a standalone silver mine up and running, including all the permitting and all the bullshit. And then you have every country in the world stopping or slowing down their silver exports. We see it in Mexico. We see it all throughout South America. Everything is pointing to this point in time And we're starting to see more and more silver articles on that. All it takes is one big buy, and everything shuts down. So we'll see. As of yesterday, they traded, and I quote, 80, was it 64? It was look at this, a low day, 64 million or 64,000 contracts, which is what 228 million, something like 228 million ounces. Yes, a ridiculous amount, a fourth of the annual supply, including the recycling of silver. It's crazy. It's stupid, and almost all the contracts have been settled, except 255 are left, which is normal. Last month was an odd circumstance. Bank of America screwed up; they didn't have the metal. This time it's pretty much taken care of already. This month, we don't know how much is going to go to England though. So someone with $1 billion can go in and buy a massive amount of silver on the COMEX today and do an exchange for physical to get it out of the jurisdiction with LBMA. And we might see that. So if you guys want to know who these banks are who are colluding to set the price of silver, we already know JP Morgan. They've already admitted to it. All we have to do is look at who are the most active people this month in the silver delivery. And it'll tell you who's trying to wind up their book. HSBC, we thought they were gone. No, they aren't gone. They got fined so many times. But this is HSBC customers. Yeah, right. And that's how JP Morgan's getting away with it. Instead of them taking all the deliveries and issuing silver into the exchanges, they are actually doing it through their customers, supposedly. It's a little loophole that they get around everything. And I've talked about this the other day. Standard Chartered Bank, this is massive. The vast majority of silver delivered was through Standard Chartered Bank. Over, 13 million ounces or something, 12 million ounces. That by just massive. And look at the whole year. Look what they've done. I mean, tiny May was pretty big for issuing. Standard Chartered Bank isn't taking any silver. They're getting out of the game. I think this is probably their last ounce of silver. We won't see them again. Once these big banks get completely out, they're out. Because why would they go in? The reason they got out is they screwed up and they're massively short. Wells Fargo has been an active participant, but not on a big level. I think this has to do with the Bank of America leases. A lot of games being played there. And there it is, B of A again, taking delivery of 2.5 million ounces. And then we see Morgan Stanley, historically has been a big player, and all of a sudden in July they're coming in, taking 445 contracts, but supplying 87, so you got 350 or so. They've been silent. All of a sudden these people are coming out of the woodworks because I think it's because of what happened in 2001 when the price of silver almost hit $30. Can't allow that to happen. And then JP Morgan, still for 2 more months, they are on, or 3 more months, 2.5, they are still on a deferred prosecution agreement. They've violated it at least twice that I know of. So I don't know what's going on with that, but the reason this is pretty much blank on the JP Morgan side is that part of the agreement is that they won't rig the silver market. So they have their customers rig the silver market where they orchestrate. It's so insane. The regulators need to completely go so that people understand, hey, no market is safe. That's the best understanding because people want to invest in a safe market. So everybody will remove their stuff from all the exchanges, all the stocks and bonds. Everybody will get out. And then an exchange will start up that is honest, probably peer-to-peer transactions through Veritasium. Why else would they give Reggie the patent on it? So we'll see. We'll see. And then what else? Advantage is an active broker. I see these as like real investment type of player, and they provide metal and take metal all the time, almost every month. They're active. Hardly anybody else is. ADM's active. Those two are the more active ones. JP Morgan is the big bomber. And then CME had to pony up 234 contracts, 1 million ounces. Wow. The CME, they only cover when they only need to provide when everybody else doesn't have it. So interesting, very interesting there. As far as exchange for physical, this is through the London. So they buy the contract in the U.S. and they bring it over to London for delivery. In June, there was 110 million ounces, which is damn big. And remember, these are happening every month. There's 66, 118, 112, 100, 53. What was this? Oh, the whole year last year was 1.3 billion ounces taken off the COMEX into the LBMA. That's how insane this world is. No, the contracts on the COMEX are not real silver. They're electronic blips that they send over to London, and that's where they're supposedly delivering the metal. But who knows? It's all a fraud. Now we get into the interesting stuff. DOD invokes Defense Protection Act to boost metal mining after China exports controls. We're going to see every country put their arms around their own country, their own natural resources, and not allow exports, which will be really interesting. Globalization will end. Alan Greenspan used to talk about that back when he was a younger man. I don't know how old he is now. He's mid-90s. He would love to see this game end, the game he started, at least the computer rigging side, before he passes on to the next life. He might be already gone. We don't know who in the upper echelon are still around and who's gone. Biden is, it's not Biden. I don't think it's Biden. Who knows? That's the funny thing. If you're going to get a double for Biden, why don't you get one that's not senile as well? The whole thing is just a joke. And then classic, the cocaine in the White House. Just who else could it be? It was Hunter, and they show him pictures of him rubbing his nose, and the whole thing is insane. And we allow it. We allow it because don't tip the apple cart. You might lose your 401k. Well, everybody's going to lose their 401k very soon. There's no other way. Everything's been rehypothecated. Real shares trading hands back and forth that you think are yours, except 3 other people own the same share for almost every stock out there. It's insane. Anyway, this is really interesting. China is starting to block certain metals from exporting. So the U.S. is going to do the same. Everybody's going to do the same, basically. It's like a nuclear bomb. When you set off a nuke, everybody sets off their nukes, and then it's over. So when you block certain minerals and metals coming into your country or leaving your country, every country would do the same and are. And so that's what's happening right now. They might call, like in Mexico, that they say, this was it Peru had the largest silver mine in the world go down? I think it's still down. So yeah, don't expect to get any imports into the United States or any country as this system falls apart. And we are literally, I would say at a max by the end of the year, but literally in for chaos August, September, October. And then who knows what happens after that? Will we bail out the banks again? I don't see it. Truthfully, I don't see Congress agreeing on it. I don't see how it would be to our advantage. Right now, it's at our advantage to be able to print money and bail everybody out, which we're doing at the Fed. But at some point, as China kicks our ass, we're going to say, oh my God, we can't do this anymore. And then every country will end globalization, end trade with each other. And that was actually in the Road to Ruta comic books, that Ruta basically the town stops trading with, call it Gopher Junction was Mexico, and in the northern, I forgot the other one, Gopher Junction, and something about the Mounties, about the mountains in Canada. But yeah, that was part of the Road to Ruta documentation was, we're going to stop trading. Globalization will abruptly end. So what does China think? Well, they pretty much process all the raw materials for everything. They said, hey, we can play this game. We'll go into the mines. We're not going to buy the stock. We're not going to stockpile real big, but we'll process it all. So it all has to come through us before it goes back out as a processed item. So China now processes 45% of the raw materials. That's crazy. And China is falling apart financially even more than the U.S. But it doesn't matter at this point. The debt doesn't matter. It never did matter. No country's ever paid off its debt. So what do? You run it for as long as possible. Build your infrastructure. Build your military. Build your houses. Pay for college. Pay for everything. Money is just being shot out over every issue and every problem. Zero Hedge today. A case for a bailout as $13 trillion in Chinese local debt looms. Yeah, China doesn't care about fiat money. Of course they don't. They have a massive population, 1.456 billion people. They're almost at 1.5 billion. And how are they going to take care of 1.5 billion people? Well, we gave them all the manufacturing. What have they done? What has China done? I started talking about this like 10 years ago. China has been building massive cities where nobody lives. This is all for the transition. Here's some pictures if you don't believe me. These are cities that literally have no occupants. Look, skyrise is going up, no occupants. Empty streets. Look at that. There's not one person who lives in that. All those are going up and nobody even lives even close. Empty streets. And they build cities. This is modeled after traditional Italian village. All these things just going up everywhere. And nobody lives in them. They're getting ready for something. My favorite is the Eiffel Tower. They built a city that looks like Paris. Look at all this. Nobody lives in these houses yet. It looks like at least there's some cars out there. But they keep building and building and building and building and building. One, it gives jobs to people. But number two, after the system falls apart, no one's going to want fiat money. So they're just going to default on everything. Just like the U.S. will. That was always the plan. And I think they have the Paris. There it is. That's not Paris, France. That's a direct replica in China where nobody lives at the moment. But they will. Everybody will be moving to these big cities. Which is crazy. Just crazy stuff. So that's where we are. Hey, if you guys haven't listened to my discussion with the head of Silver Eagle Sales, go check it out. It's at roadtoroota.com. 3 parts. He gives up the ghost that there was a plan to stop Silver Eagle production. They are not living up to the law. And there is an argument that they can do that. And it's the 1934 Gold Act that says the U.S. Treasury can rig any market they want with immunity. It's kind of embarrassing when it gets out. Now everybody knows, so why wouldn't everybody on the planet be running and screaming to get silver? Because the price hasn't gone up. I know it sounds weird, but wait till the price goes to 30, everybody's going to be trying to get silver and be asking you, where can I get silver? If the price goes down below 20, they're not going to say a word. Same with cryptos. If cryptos start going up, it happens every time. Everybody comes out of the woodwork. Oh, how do I buy Bitcoin? How do I get Theta? When it goes down, all you hear is, oh, are you all right? Are you all right, Bix? How many times have we gone through it? Many times. This isn't a big one because it was important that Gary Gensler get crypto people out of finance. So he allowed all the DeFi coins to do well and then pulled the hammer on them and is currently destroying them. There was a rumor that Gary Gensler gave his resignation. I don't know. He should be in jail. I mean, he financed the attempted coup of the Democrats. He was in charge of the Clinton family finances during that ridiculous stint we had, and he actually wrote the check and signed the check for the Steele dossier. It's like $1 million check. He wrote it. He signed it. That was his job. So maybe he is in jail. I don't know. I do know everything's about to fall apart. So get your silver, get your shit in order. We'll muddle through July, I think, and when the banking numbers come out for the second quarter, and that happens at the beginning of August, it's going to get ugly. Might even see, I don't even know, $1 trillion in unrealized losses or more. Stuff like that. So hang on tight, get your physical in your own possession. It's going to be a crazy year. It already has been. It's going to be a lot crazier. Again, get your physical silver. If you don't have a local guy, contact Andy Scheckman. You can find him send an email to info at milesfranklin.com, milesfranklin.com. See what he's got in inventory. I always recommend buy what he's got in inventory. That way you don't have to wait on things, because as things get squirrely in silver, people promise silver that they don't have. Well, I got a shipment coming in a couple weeks, and I'll get to you. I'll get you a great price. And then all it takes is one entity to fall apart, and we've seen it so many times in gold and silver dealers. That just throws everything off kilter. So don't wait till the price goes up to 30 or 50 or 1,000. Get your physical now, sit on it, and watch the game. It's Bix Weir. I'll talk to you later.